Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rain Radio, where we have juicy conversations that lead to amazing transformations. We are your hosts. I'm Naomi Calderon.
And I'm Lila Sade, and today we are talking about self-talk, which is, I'm really excited about it, in case you can't tell. I'm never excited when we start our calls. So, grab your drink, your journal, put on your crown, and let's chat right after we talk about what you're drinking, Naomi.
Water, water everywhere, and a drop or two to drink.
That's hilarious. I'm risking my life and having a hot chocolate. I also have water.
I love hot chocolate, but it's like 90 degrees today, so my mouth might be interested in that, but my body's like, girl, please.
Okay, according to AccuWeather.com, this is not sponsored, but if they want to send me money, they can. It's 76 degrees and cloudy. There is a breeze, and anyone who's ever met me knows that I am cooler than that. Like, whatever the temperature is, subtract 10 degrees, and that's where I am. So it's the perfect hot cocoa weather for me.
Sounds like the perfect hot cocoa weather to me.
Yeah, and I've been craving it, so I finally decided to respect my taste buds and drink it, and we'll see how much of it I actually end up drinking.
Awesome.
We'll find out.
So, hot cocoa and water.
Mm-hmm.
Both nurturing in their own way. That's what I'm going to go with today.
Mm-hmm. It really wants to be spiked, but I get to go back to the day job, so we're going to have some.
See, a little comfort.
Bourbon.
Little comfort on board, minus the bourbon. See, you'd put bourbon. I'd prefer Bailey's in my hot cocoa.
Or rum, or whiskey, whatever's in the cabinet.
I was going to say, or maybe a little peppermint schnapps. Get a little mint mocha going there.
Now that you're all like craving a beverage,
right? Go grab one. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, people.
We are going to abandon that topic and move on to
self-talk.
Yes, I'm always excited about a self-talk conversation. Partially because I am literally a trained self-talk facilitator.
Oh, see, perfect. I'm curious how one becomes one of those.
There is I think it's a company called the Self-Talk Institute. And you go through their one-day training and voila.
So I have a question for you. What to you is the difference between self-talk and mindset? Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, she's a great mindset coach. Now, in my world, if you're a great coach, you work on mindset, period, because coaching is ineffective if you don't. So I don't understand the differentiation. Oh, she's a mindset coach. Okay. But to me, mindset, I hear people talk about that. I hear people talk self-talk. What's the difference to you? Is there a difference?
I think that self-talk is a mindset practice. I think there are other methods of changing your mindset, like affirmations. Even some of the energy healing stuff that we do affects your mindset. When you timeline people, it changes their mindset, even though that's not like specifically
self-talk.
What you're after. Yeah.
Got it.
When I do golden light healings with people, their mindset changes.
Sure.
But self-talk is a tool that can be utilized to change your mindset.
Got it. It's like a rectangle is this square, but a square is not a rectangle, or whatever that math thing is.
Yes.
Right?
All squares.
All the math people are like, oh my God, she got that wrong. She needs to go back to 4th grade.
Geometry and I were not good friends either. Literally the only math class I got a C in.
Oh, see. And you did great in algebra, didn't you? you did bad in
Algebra and
geometry.
I are such good friends.
Yeah, almost always the case. I think it's a square is a square and a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is a rectangle, not a square.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is. But it's, whatever. Squirreling, speaking of self-talk, I have a lot of thoughts and talk in my head all the time. So, what about self-talk today, Lila?
Well, it's such a dynamic topic. We got excited about it because of how sketchy my self-talk is, which is hilarious. Like, wait, what do you mean self-talk expert? Your self-talk is sketchy. So if you're new to me, I am an asshole. Not like all the time, and I'm funny. That's what makes it like the worst, because people tolerate me being an asshole because I'm funny. They're like, oh my God, that was so hilarious. Really, because I'm a jerk. And my self-talk is like no different. So this topic even entered our list of potential topics because I said something hilarious, and Naomi was like, what? We should do a call about self-talk because that's not great self-talk, Coach Lila. And I was like, yep, that's me being funny. I don't really mean it, whatever mean thing I said to myself in that moment. However, that can still affect us. Like, even if we're not feeling mean to ourselves when we say whatever mean thing we're saying to ourselves, no matter how hilarious it is, it can still affect how we show up in the world, what we attract to ourselves, how we are in relationships, all of those things. That's how
Absolutely. Absolutely. And part of that is because yeah, oh my gosh, not nearly as much as I used to be. Let me tell you, in college, sarcasm was the only language I was fluent in, I'd swear. And there's, even when we're being funny or we're being sarcastic or, oh, I'm just joking or whatever it is, you want to find an asshole. Your unconscious mind often is an asshole, which is really not. Its job is to protect you, but it doesn't get the nuances of conversation. It doesn't get any feelings behind anything. It's just like, oh, you said we're stupid? Okay, I'm here to support you. And you said we're stupid, so I'm going to support stupid. Awesome. Stupid it is. And that's how the unconscious mind operates. So it doesn't know that you're kidding. It doesn't know that you were just teasing. It doesn't know that you were just joking or being sarcastic or self-deprecating or whatever it is, or that you didn't really mean it. It thinks you meant it. And it's always eavesdropping. It's like that annoying little 5-year-old brother that you've got who won't leave you and your friends alone and is nosy. That's your unconscious mind.
So this is really funny. I'm glad you said that because I hadn't really I think a lot about my self-talk when I'm creating something, but the rest of the time, the little asshole that lives in my brain just gets to run rampant and be amusing. So I never made the connection between my frequent self-insult. I think I call other people these things too, particularly my first husband. He's my favorite. But so the frequent insults are idiot, dumbass, and dipshit. Oh. Dipshit usually reserved for the ex-husband.
Oh, those are other people, not you.
Well, that one's mostly him. But but they're like a family, those three. Idiot is my first one for myself. Like, oh, that was really fucking dumb. Or, you know, something, some version or some flavor of that. And I just realized as you were explaining that it comes from this. I was talking with my therapist about it on Monday, and she was saying, like, your parents' dialogue becomes your inner dialogue a lot of the time. And I was like, yeah, we're going to dive into that because I don't really have that. Like, there's literally one thing that I can remember that my mother said, and then I decided that I needed to beat myself over the head with that, like, repeatedly forever. Like, it impacted me.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, you know, I got a lot of, like, compliments and encouragement from the rest of my family. But the thing that my mom said was, the older you get, the dumber you get.
Ugh.
She only said it once that I can recall. But I decided in that moment that it was true. I recorded it in my cells. It was like a thing. I was in college and was like, okay, listen, we are done with that. You were like 7. It's obviously not true. Like, look at the certificates on the wall. Everyone that you run into says you're brilliant. You figured out all of these things on your own. Like, you were obviously a smart cookie. You can stop believing that now. But
and have you?
Yes. Yeah. Sometime over the last 15 years, I had a frozen moment and let it go. But that was when I realized.
Thank you for that earworm.
You are welcome. You just take Elsa into your meeting later with you, and she will keep you company.
Sweet. I may start twirling in the middle of that motherfucking meeting. I'm just telling you that now. Anyway, go ahead. You let it go.
I'm really confused. Yes. So, and I can't tell you what specific thing that I did, but it was sometime during college that I realized that it was impacting me. And during this conversation, I realized that that's where that particular tidbit of self-talk comes from. Yeah. And it's like self-talk typically, unless you're actively working at changing it, it's your automatic thought.
Yep.
It's like what shows up in your head before you are aware that it's in your head.
Yep. When I'm doing any timeline work with people, and you can attest to this, often there is this, trust your unconscious mind. What is the first thing that shows up? That right there. Because people are like, well, nothing showed up. It's like, yeah, I saw the reaction of the thought. You might not be conscious of it, but it showed up.
Yeah.
It's just so automatic that oftentimes we aren't aware that it's there. It's that thought that says, I didn't have a thought. Okay, that one. You know? But you're right, those thoughts are automatic. You just realized what?
I just realized that might be why I'm always looking for the right answer, too.
I'll say more about that.
There's still some dismantling of that, because when you ask me that, my brain goes blank, and it's like looking for the right answer. It's like there should be a thought here. Instead of like, I'm clearly unaware of that thought. It's like, I should know the answer, so go find it.
That's probably a whole nother conversation, because in timeline, I would encourage people not to try to go find it, but to allow what's there to show up.
Which is
because it's there.
Different than the awareness of what's already there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already there. And our self-talk is already there. And we're so used to it, and sometimes we don't mean anything by it. And sometimes the self-talk, there's like 5 different directions this is about to go. That just hurt. Yay. Sometimes that self-talk we weave and craft and create stories out of that self-talk. And then we start buying into those stories. And then those stories become our reality.
Absolutely.
So
are you going to go the other 5 places, or are we going to pause there?
That almost feels like its own whole conversation.
Okay.
When maybe a part B, when your self-talk, when you craft and create a story that becomes your life. Because sometimes those stories serve us. I am like Elsa in Frozen. I could take that and I could create and craft a whole story around it and tell myself that, I have long hair and I can sing and dance and, all the things, and have magical superpowers just like her. And I could craft and weave a story about how I'm the hero of my own story. And that would be an okay thing, because then I would live in that direction. But sometimes the stories we create aren't really in support of us. And then how do we dismantle them? And that feels like a whole another long topic. Because we started out with, how do you live life on your terms if your self-talk is sketchy?
Well, that's a really interesting party.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer to that is to change your self-talk. If your self-talk is what's keeping you from living your life on your own terms, it probably is. I feel like mindset and energy are partners.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your self-talk is moving you away from your sovereignty, then you definitely want to address that. When I say sketchy, for me, I mean that I don't necessarily have the self-talk of what everyone would judge a healing artist's self-talk to be. Like, we would think that she's not calling herself an idiot, but let me tell you, when I got to work yesterday and my headphones and my water bottle were still on my kitchen counter, yeah, I did not call myself brilliant. No, I didn't. If I did, there was a layer of sarcasm on it. So when I say sketchy, I mean like atypical for my title, I guess. But when I am actively creating, then I look at my self-talk. Like, when my life doesn't align the way that I would like it to, when I am not pulling in the income I would like, when I am not feeling in charge of my life in any direction, then I get active about and specific about the self-talk instead of just letting it be an amusing hot mess inside my head.
So I'm gonna like really go big picture and slightly ridiculous on that. So what I hear you saying is it really doesn't matter what your day-to-day self-talk is, as long as if you feel like you need to move towards a goal, then you start working on it.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I think for me it's different because I'm always growing in some area of my life. So I feel like I am looking at the inside of my head on literally a daily basis.
You do. You do. So you're probably not the right person to ask that question of, honestly. So let me ask a different question then.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you are, yeah. And frankly, I don't know very many people, even the people who are super enlightened, the coaches that I follow, the healers that I follow, who've been doing this quite some time, who are really amazing at what they do, much like Miss Lila, they still will talk about the fact that, you know what, sometimes their committee is a pain in the ass. Sometimes their inner talk, their self-talk, is an asshole. Sometimes I think they will all say that. I know very few who really fully 100% have it, quote, mastered, because we're human beings. We're two-legged. It's how we're wired. We're flooded with information, bits of information every single day. We're talking thousands a minute, but we can't take in thousands a minute, but we take in hundreds of them a second, and then we have filters that we filter it all through. And those filters are things like our life experience, who brought us up, the culture we grew up in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we each have these sets of filters that the stuff we bring in goes through, then we make it mean something, and then we lock it in ourselves. And the rest of it just kind of crumbles away. So Lila and I could be flooded with exactly the same information, the same bits of everything, and we would filter it differently. Mm-hmm. That's where the mindset piece is important, and that does impact the self-talk. But it's one of those chicken and the egg. The self-talk also impacts the mindset. So you're probably not the right person to talk to and ask about, well, so does it not matter if you're having these thoughts of, oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, what a dumbass. That was stupid. Way to go. When I'm really having a dressing down, I use my maiden name. So either a major pep talk or a dressing down, my maiden name comes. Way to go, Paulson. That was kind of dumb. Or, okay, Paulson, we got this. You can do it. It's the weirdest thing. So, yeah.
That's interesting. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, probably so, huh? That's a different side conversation. If I know for myself, if I ignore my self-talk and I just let it be what it is and run rampant, like a small child hopped up on frickin' pixie sticks, and I only focus on it if I've got a goal that I'm wanting to reach, or if I feel like, I haven't really been manifesting things very well, maybe I should really work on my mindset and I should look at my self-talk. I will tell you that 80% of my life would probably be a complete and total hot mess. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden I'd realize shit ain't going how I want it to, and I will have created a hot mess that I then have to dig my way out of, versus working on my self-talk like you're talking about, where you're working on your mindset, you're digging into your mind, you're working on your self-talk, you're working on your mindset, you're working on the manifesting, you're working on those pieces on a daily basis. So
here's the curious thing as we're talking about this. Mm-hmm. I think that in general, I have pretty good self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And I think that lends to pretty decent general self-talk. And so probably the reason I am only vigilant about my self-talk when I am in creation mode, which is all the time, is because overall in general my life works really well. I'm generally a good mood. I'm generally a good time. And even the things that are, like I said, mean, there's no venom to it.
Aha.
It's a okay, genius, you left your headphones on the counter. It's not you're the worst person in the world, you left your headphones on the counter, you're so fucking forgetful, how dare you. It's not that intense.
So the
I think that's
energy
why
behind
I
your
leave the
self-talk
monkey alone.
changes. Got it.
Yes, there's definitely a different energy behind the self-talk. I am not actually venomously mean to myself. I'm mean to myself like a comedian on stage.
So here's the good and bad of that.
Go on.
I think you have it dialed in. I'm going to agree with you 100%. I don't live in your head, but I'm guessing based on what I know about you, probably 90% of your self-talk is very supportive and and you're always the one to simply step back and look at and say, well, that was an interesting opinion, that's an interesting point of view when something does show up in your gray matter that maybe is less than supportive. You are a master of that. Now, devil's advocate side is, I appreciate the fact that there isn't venom behind it when you're like, oh, that was stupid. Way to go, Lila, leaving your headphones on the table. Dumbass. That it's just like, oh, well, that was dumb. And I get you don't really mean, I'm dumb, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that. However, I'm going to go back to, and our unconscious mind doesn't know the difference.
Right.
I'm dumb to my unconscious mind is, or that was dumb. My unconscious mind doesn't know. Does that mean I'm saying I'm dumb with malice, or I'm dumb as in I'm a stand-up comedian on stage and making a joke? Your unconscious mind has no idea. It's just dumb. Dumb is dumb.
Right.
So how do you think that could impact someone?
Okay, someone.
Yeah, because
it becomes who they are. So here's where we get to really look at like how we created these calls in the first place. So these calls started out as accountability calls between Naomi and myself. We were working on something. We got together every week. We decided our calls were amusing and that other people should listen to them too, and here we are.
Ta-da!
So, in the course of this conversation, I've realized that some self-talk I'm now going to change. Because I think it feeds the I don't know, which is probably my biggest consistent blocking thought when it comes to business and money. So that's a real fun time. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it does. It permeates like everything. And gee, that was dumb. Just like your unconscious mind doesn't know, gee, that was dumb, ha ha ha, versus gee, that was dumb, insert venom here. Your unconscious mind doesn't know what that was. Leaving your headphones, leaving the water, driving to work, existing.
Right?
It really isn't specific at all, and it gets out of hand. So I will be changing. It begins to create
our belief about ourselves.
Yeah.
There was a client I worked with, and her belief about herself was, well, she had two we were working on. One was that she never follows through and finishes anything, because I don't finish anything. I never finish anything. I'm like, really, anything? I love universal quantifiers. And so, but she wanted to shift not only the behavior, but the story she had about herself. So I'm like, so let me ask you this. When you got up this morning and you went to brush your teeth, what did you do? Well, I grabbed my toothbrush and I put toothpaste on. I said, did you stop there? No. Did you brush your teeth? Yeah. Did you finish brushing your teeth? Yeah. I said, so you do complete things. Oh. So sometimes we build evidence by the self-talk we have. So if it's, oh, that was dumb, I left my headphones on the table. And then, oh, that was dumb. I totally forgot that I had said I was going to meet that person there. That was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. And yeah, it starts to support. We're either building evidence for a new story, or we're building evidence to support an old story that's hidden. And so for her, for a week, like, you can do it in your head. You can do it out loud. I'd prefer out loud. but I get that sometimes, especially at work, you may not really feel comfortable and confident doing this. So do it how it works for you. Every time you finish something, I don't care how small it is, you're going to go, woohoo, I'm a completer. And so for a week, she did that. And, of course, when she was at home, she did it out loud just to annoy her daughter because she had a teenager. And but she started to recognize and realize that she actually does complete things. And she had to change the story about herself. But it started by changing her self-talk.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I got to say about that.
And it does work. Like, that's a fantastic way of doing it, too. I never considered that. Woohoo! I'm a whatever. I'm a genius.
I'm a genius, right?
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And it's a process, like everything, right?
It absolutely is. We are like right at the half-hour mark. I would like to follow up, perhaps in another conversation, with like tools that we can give people if they are looking to change their self-talk.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think there's probably 2 or 3 more specific self-talk conversations that we can have, like those rabbit holes that my brain tried to go down all at once. Where self-talk is concerned, I think, yeah, absolutely. And having tools is so powerful. One of them is just that. If you have something that you constantly tell yourself, I never finish anything, I'm so stupid, whatever it is, start paying attention to the opposite of that. Something you do that's smart, something you do that is a completion, whatever it is, and celebrate the hell out of it. Out loud, in your head, whatever. If it's in your head, make sure you got like imaginary streamers and confetti and shit in there. Celebrate it. And that's one tool you can have. But yes, let's definitely revisit this because there are more tools, and the more you work on your mindset and be like Lila, work on it, get in your head every single day, the easier it becomes to shift that and manifest that, the things you want, and end up living life on your own terms. So much easier.
Yeah, and the freaky thing about it is your whole life will change. So if you don't want that, then don't try it out. That's all I got.
I love it.
We will chat with y'all next time. I'm still Southern. There was another y'all. There was only one this time, though.
Shoot, Farrell. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.